We're back with Chovos Halevavos. We are in Shar Avodas Hashem, the fourth parak. For those of you who are following on the internet, the reason we didn't have a few classes because I wasn't feeling well, I wasn't here, but Baruch Hashem, I'm back. But tomorrow, Mechina is going on a trip, so there won't be a class. Then the next day there will be a class, then it's Chanukah, and on Chanukah we will not be posting shiurim, for me at least, because I'm not here in the afternoon. وأما مذاهب أهل الشريعة في اعتقادهم لها والالتزام التعالى لله بها فعلى العشر درجات. Says the Chovos Halevavos that with regard to the different shitot, different methods of the people who study the Torah, and again, I'd like to emphasize the use of the term Sharia, that all of the Jews that spoke Arabic, when they refer to the Torah, they use the term Sharia. Which means when you hear Muslims talking about Sharia, smile and say, no, Sharia is the Torah. So there are 10 levels. The first level are people whose ignorance and attitude brought them to reject the Torah. That they were so seeped, connected, influenced by their taivas. Taivas are desires. That they simply rejected the Torah. They looked at the Torah as a human document that was set in order to control and create order in society. Society without order is very, very dangerous. There's a long history starting from the writings of Plato. Those of you who ever read the Republic, it tells us in the book of the Republic of a philosopher king who has to create a just society by creating rules and regulations for them in order to allow him to continue to develop his perfection. So there are those who looked at the Torah in that same manner, that it is a human product made to control people. Okay? And because of the Yetzer, their Yetzer Hara, they are unable to control themselves, and therefore they even don't listen to their own intellect to try to control them, because they want to live a life of Hefker. You guys know what Hefker is? Free. Yes. Do whatever you want. You ever heard of the term YOLO? Yes? What is YOLO? You only live once. On the tzad, let's say those people are right, that you only have one shot at this. You really want to risk it? If really you only live once, do you want to spend it by behaving like an animal and not preparing yourself for the next world? If you think about living only once, which is not necessarily the Jewish position, so if you think of your existence on earth, let's say this much, and the entire afterlife is forever this way, whatever you're doing in this short period of 120 years is going to affect the entire existence. YOLO? Yeah, you better get it right. You better use that one shot you have to make yourself the best that you can be. Because we are going to stand before our Maker, and we're going to have to give both din and cheshbon. Din is judgment on what we've done and what we didn't do. Cheshbon is an accounting of what our effect in the world was. That is, if your effect in the world is negative, that's going to cost you. Sexting. Your effect in this world has implications. Nachshon, good afternoon. Everything okay?
Yeah.
You're out of breath.
I ran here
From?
from the train station.
Oh, okay, that's not so bad. Everything good?
Yeah.
Good. Welcome. You want to get something to drink?
I have water.
Okay. We can order. You want some fries and onion rings?
No.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Do you think it matters?
Louder.
Do you think it matters more the quality or the quantity of how you affect others?
Both? Both? In Hilchot Tshuva of the Rambam, when he discusses what defines a person a tzaddik or a rasha, it's both qualitative and quantitative. A person could, chas v'shalom, do lots and lots of small sins. And that sort of the aggregate is going to put him in the wrong basket. Or on the other hand, he could do a lot of mitzvahs, but he has one really, really big sin. Really big. So it's both quantitative and qualitative. Is that it? Very pensive look today. What's going on? And now we get to smile. If you could please turn the lights on over there. I don't like when people are sitting in the dark. Even though this is Ohr Somayach, we want them to sit in the light. Yes, sir.
If everything that Hashem does is for the best and in our best interest, even if we don't understand why, then why would we ever cry or be sad?
Not relevant, but good question. Not relevant. But I'm not giving you, you can ask another question, but that's not the topic. And Rabbi Gottlieb does Q&A on Mondays, not Rabbi Matalon. I do Q&As when you guys aren't here.
Is anyone here when you do them?
Yes? Shh. No. What do you want? You want to ask me? Did I ever tell you not to ask me a question? You could always ask, like he does. But whether I answer or not, that depends. You have an irrelevant question you want to ask?
Always.
Always. Okay. Do you have a rhetorical question you want to ask? Okay, good. Baruch Hashem. So, this level of people, their intellect essentially serves their Yetzer Hara. And it is the ultimate misuse of the tool of the Seichel. The Rambam in Moreh Nevuchim in the first parak explains that the way that we can connect to Hashem, the way that happens, is through our intellect. That is what creates that connection. Right? If you imagine just as a metaphor, Kadosh Baruch Hu is a router, right? And you need to connect to that router. That your intellect is the way that you can connect. No intellect, no connection. If you take that in order to just download movies and games instead of connecting to Hashem, you fill up yourself with nonsense and you can't get out. And then they have to put you in Ohr Somayach, the Happy Light Institute. And we make you wear a tinfoil hat, right? And eat Monday lunch. Did you like the lunch today?
It was rough.
It was rough, huh?
It was proper rough.
Okay, good. Listen, sometimes you got to pay the price. Second level. Second level are for people who could not reject the signs and the miracles that the Torah tells us, because it was something that was well known. Everybody knows of Yetziat Mitzrayim. Everybody knows that the Jewish people received the Torah on Har Sinai, and they couldn't doubt those events. But they doubted certain aspects of the truth of the Torah. And it's very close to the previous group, except in following that they said that Hashem wanted to lead his creatures, and so he awakened a prophet to give them laws that were good for them, and he gave them signs and miracles so they did listen to him. But it has nothing to do with reward and punishment. It was for that generation, and that's what it is. So yeah, they don't deny that God gave the Torah, that there was these miracles in the desert, that they received man and all these wonderful things happened in the desert. But that was for them. What does that have to do with me? It was 35 or 100 years ago. Now, if any of you are convinced by these positions, you have to tell me now. Don't come later and say, oh, Rabbi, yeah, that made a lot of sense. So he says that I have to explain the answers against them. He says God, who is beyond changing nature to prove something for those who will lie against Hashem. So what does he mean by that? So there are those that for a miracle to occur, it means that God is doing the miracle. And God would not cause a miracle to occur when a person is lying in the name of God. Okay? Which means what? The people in this group are claiming a lie. That whatever happened was that God gave the Torah to that generation. That's a lie. Because God gave the Torah to the entire world. And it wasn't, God says specifically, it's for those who are here today and for those who are not here today. It's not limited in scope. It doesn't have an expiration date. Could you imagine that the Torah had an expiration date? Does it have an expiration date?
The year 6000?
The year 6000 expires, that's it?
What about after the world ceased to exist?
Well, I guess we have to wait and see, huh?
So it's theoretically possible.
Theoretically, possibility is always on the table.
When the Mashiach is over, I'm saying.
When the Mashiach is over.
Mashiach's over, yeah. When the Messianic period is over.
After that 7,000th year. But until then,
It exists. Then there might be a new world after that.
so do you understand what he's saying? Saying God is not going to provide miracles for people who are going to lie about God's message. And so, there's not going to be prophecy or prophetic message to an individual that is not going to speak the truth. And so, God will not perform miracles, will not change nature for those who falsify his message. Very important. Very, very important. Those who God chose to lead us, right? We need to follow them and follow what they tell us. And there are really two ways of why we have to follow the Torah. One is because of all the miraculous things that happened to the Jewish people. That shows that the Kadosh Baruch Hu says this is what he wants. And the very message of the Torah and the Hashgacha Pratis of the Jewish people from that point onwards tell us that we should trust Hashem. This idea is complicated to understand, but it could be simplified in the following parable. How many of you ever applied to get a credit card? What do they do in order to give you a credit card? They what?
History check?
Louder.
Credit check?
Credit check. What does a credit check mean? What are they doing? What are they looking at in your credit check?
History.
Your history, where you were born?
Yeah, your purchases and how you act when you pay your bills. And
Oh, that's the point. They're looking at when did you borrow money and what did you do with it? Did you pay it off? That is, you borrowed money, right? Let's say you borrowed $100. Did you pay it? Good. Then you borrowed another $200 and you paid that, right? You're showing that laat, slowly, you fulfill your obligations, correct? And so they trust you more. So now you want a nice mortgage for your house. So you want to borrow, I don't know, $500,000. Okay? So if you have a good credit score, you have good credit history showing, then they say, okay, vakasha. That, in one sense, is what the Torah is telling us. That one of the reasons we believe in Hashem is because we have a long history with Hashem, and whatever He promised, He did. He told Avraham Avinu that the Jewish people are going to be in Egypt for 400 years. Were we in Egypt? No. Yes.
Oh, I thought you meant for 400 years, sorry. I answered too quick.
You owe push-ups, my friend. Not now. Oh, careful. Don't forget, gravity is not just a good idea. It's the law. He promised us to take us out of Egypt. Did He? Yeah.
Yes.
He promised to bring us to the Holy Land. Right? Did He take us to Saudi Arabia?
No.
He took us to Eretz Israel. He told us that He's going to give us the land of the Canaanites. Did He? Yes. Did He tell us that if we sin, He would destroy us and exile us?
Yes.
Did He?
Yes.
Yes. Did He tell us that He's going to bring us back?
Yes.
Yeah. Did He? Yeah. Did He tell us if we're going to sin, He's going to do this again?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And did He? Yes. We've been in Golus for how long approximately? 2,000 years? Since the destruction of the temple? Plus or minus? Right? Don't get like, well, technically it's 270 minus 2024. It's only 2,000, 1950. Don't get annoying. Did He bring us back? Yeah. We're here. Of all of the persecutions, of all of the things that the Jewish people went through, He promised there will always be Jews. Did He keep that promise? Yeah. If you remember the numbers of Jews, and this is a big academic machlokes of how many Jews existed before the Roman destruction. So I think the number is around 4 million. Okay? Just before the Roman rebellion, there's 4 million Jews. Okay? When you get to 1500, okay, so 1500 years later, we only have 1 million Jews in the world. This is the year 1500. Okay? From the year 1500 to 1939, we go from 1 million to 18 million. And from 1939 to 1945, we go from 18 million down to 12. And where are we now? Depends how you ask, depends how you define it, but somewhere around 14, 15. Did Hashem keep his promise? That's why we believe him. Whatever he told us in the Torah that he's going to do, he has done. As a nation. Now, comes Rabbeinu over here and says, but there are things that Hashem is doing to me that I don't like. Why am I crying? Well, first of all, we have to believe that everything that Hashem is doing is just. Chas v'shalom that Hashem is doing something that is unjust. That's not such an easy position to hold, because life is complicated. Some people are dealt cards that are way too much for them to deal with. It's true. And they might say it's unjust. That's a fair position. It's a very old position that people ask, why do bad things happen to good people? And if you read Gemaras, it's 2,711 dafs of the Babylonian Talmud alone. You will find plenty of pieces of evidence of Tanaim and Amoraim that had difficult lives, that bad things happened to them. For example, Rabbi Yochanan lost 10 children. He would walk around with a bone of his 10th child. So that when he would go to help people mourn, he would say, hey, I know what you're going through. Rabbi, for the last 13 years of his life, he had tremendous pain, suffering, and all sorts of things he dealt with. Yes?
Does the bone violate purity laws?
No, it wasn't that size.
Can you say that again?
There are different sizes that you need in order to violate purity laws.
What is the size?
What? A what? No. Why are you asking that?
Just curious.
Okay.
I plan to carry a bone in the future.
Chas v'shalom. You should never say that. You should never take it back. Because chas v'shalom. You should have healthy children. You should have only good things in your life and not chas v'shalom. Even a chicken bone. Chas v'shalom. I don't remember, but even thin as a hair was a bone fragment that was very, very thin, that didn't violate it. I had a train of thought, but now it's gone. Okay, now I'm going to give you the floor, but if your second question is not relevant, there's going to be capital punishments.
So in the case of Rabbi Yochanan,
I
apologize that I interrupted your train of thought. In the case of Rabbi Yochanan, you said he walked around with this bone so that he could share empathy with others who are suffering. But what is his suffering of losing 10 children if it's for a purpose of Hashem and that's for good?
But it's still difficult. One of the Amoraim, I don't remember who, in Shabbos, his daughter died. And his wife says, why aren't you crying? It's not like you lost a chicken, that you took a chicken out of you. He says, no, of course I feel the pain. But if I cry at my age, I'm going to lose my eyesight. So I'm not only going to have to deal with being in mourning, but I'm going to be blind. So it was definitely painful. He knew that. But he understands that Kadosh Baruch Hu does what he does for whatever reason that he does. And our role is to accept it.
Isn't that good?
What does that mean, good?
The Kadosh Baruch Hu is doing it. Doesn't that mean it's good?
Inachinami. But it doesn't mean that it's good right now. For me, it's ultimately good, but it's painful, it hurts.
Maybe based on.
Have you ever stubbed your toe?
Yeah.
Is that good? When you're jumping and hopping on one leg because you're it's lo tov right now, it's not good because you're in a lot of pain. Ultimately, does it mean that it's going to lower the amount of suffering that you need? Probably. But it's very human to feel that we're in the moment, we feel sad, we feel pain, we feel unfair, unjust, but that's our avoida. Our avoida is to grow, to connect to Hashem. That's what it means to be a human being. If the Kadosh Baruch Hu wanted angels, he wouldn't create you. Angels are automatons. They do what they're supposed to do. They don't feel anything. They don't. But for us, we are in a different situation. And it's an avoida. It's actually work. That's what's important here. So that our connection to Hashem as a nation is because of the promises that Hashem has made. And when you look at your own life and your relationship with the Kadosh Baruch Hu, le'at le'at, you recognize that the same relationship that Hashem has with the entire Jewish people also is working for you. That when you had difficulties, you received siyata d'shmaya. When you needed a push, Hashem all of a sudden gave you this opportunity. And you realize, looking back at your life, that yes. And that's the reason that you have a personal relationship with Hashem. Your relationship with Hashem should not be because I have a relationship with Hashem. It needs to be based on your experience, what you're going through. Yes? Oh, I thought you wanted to say something. Okay. Did you want to say something?
No, it's not in my head.
What?
I was just nodding my head.
Okay. If you nod your head, it's like an auction. Then now we think you're up. Okay. Anybody else before we move forward? Okay. Now we have to turn to Dan. How much time do I have, Dan? If you cut me short today.
No, 20 minutes.
20? No way. Look at what time it is.
It's 3:37 p.m.
So he's giving 57 and you're done, Rabbi. If there was a button here, to open the chair and drop me, he would be. Okay, say it. So anyway, the reason we believe in Hashem is because of the promises. The promises. Third group. These are people that believe in the truth of the Torah, and they think that the Kadosh Baruch Hu is doing chesed to his creatures to lead them in this world, and only in this world. And there is no reward in Olam Haba, no punishment or nothing. Everything is in this world. That's it. This is as good as it gets. This world. Yes?
I've heard that somebody was telling me about something.
Someone is
Somebody
a
was,
bearded one?
no,
A rabbi? Oh, it's one of Mechina students?
not a Matalon student.
Oh,
One of the
thank you.
students.
One of the students. In what program?
I don't want to say.
Why?
There's a mini slash nine.
What?
But it might be
A
like,
program?
he's a previous person here.
A previous person here.
Yeah.
A PP.
PP.
Yes.
So
A
he
previous
said-
person.
He was saying that there's an idea that we become bittul to Hashem after this. So it's almost like the reward is not. He was kind of saying that there's not really so much reward. It's more like we just become bittul to Hashem and we go, in the next world.
Okay. What would you like me to do with that? You want me to react to an anonymous statement that whether it's true? Listen. The concept of bitul to Hashem is a very, very complicated process. Halevai, that would happen to me. That would be my ultimate reward. My whole goal is to serve Hashem. However He wants. If He wants me to be batel, that's what I want. If He wants me to stay here at Ohr Somayach and give a shir in Chovos Halevavos, I'll do the best I can with what I have. If He's going to give me other opportunities, right? If I'm going to realize my dream and open my goat farm, Eskar goat, right? Okay, then that means that's the Ratzon of Hashem. You're wondering, is he going to say the $50 billion? I'm telling you, that plan is, every single shekel is accounted for.
I think it's going to happen.
Be'ezarat Hashem. Maher ava. I got bills to pay. Yes, sir.
How can anyone know what Hashem wants of them? He doesn't communicate with us.
He doesn't?
Besides for following the Torah, like more personal.
That's the communication.
Your example
Yeah, but-
was to learn Chovos Halevavos at Ohr Somayach or to do something else. How can you possibly know which one he wants from you?
So this might not be fair for everybody. But the Hashgacha Pratis with me is that when I came to Eretz Yisrael, I was only offered one job. This. So I tried to get other, this is it. Like Hashem says, you're not doing anything but this. What about this? But I have this, I have that, I did this, nope, this. So that's what Hashem wants.
How do you know that?
What?
You can be misinterpreting.
How could I misinterpret if this is the only job He gave me?
'Cause you think it's the job he wants you to do, so you're now no longer looking for the job.
I did!
You were.
Yesterday.
Like now, maybe there's a job looming, but you
Look, hey, my number. I'm telling you, you have no idea. Listen. I went to one of the leading rabbis of our generation, and I asked him this question. I said, this is what I did to find a job. I did this, I did this, I did this, I did this, I did this. He said, you did more than enough ishtadlus. There's nothing else you can do. Okay? I went to my Rav before. I went to him and I said, here's what I did. He says, you're yoitze. You don't have to do any more ishtadlus. So he says, well, maybe you should go to the Gadol, to Rav Steinman, okay, and ask him. And I sat with him and I said, this is what he says, you're done. You don't need to do any more ishtadlus. So then comes Yuda Cab and publicly says, no, baby, you haven't done it. Next time I'll take you with me.
please, I would like to speak to this guy.
Yeah, tell him, he hasn't been doing enough. Make him do more. I'm telling you.
And for other people who don't get such clear signs,
What?
like, how do we interpret the signs and whether Hashem wants us to do something or not? Is the answer just asking
Each,
Rabbi?
each, yeah, well, you need an outside opinion. Yes. You know?
Everyone has a rabbi until you get to the top. And
Beseder, but trust me, in your case, if you just ask me, it'll be very, I'm not good
I
enough.
don't
No.
really care about me. I'm saying as a principle, who does that rabbi ask? Where's he getting this information from? He's making his decisions for the Am Yisrael Chai, but he doesn't have Ruach HaKodesh.
Says who?
Says everyone.
No. It's not so simple to say that. But there's something called Siyata Dishmaya. That Hashem sometimes gives rabbis help in saying the right thing and doing the right directions. I have many examples, and some involve some people in the room and that nobody wants to share. But there is siyata d'shmaya. There is. There is. And I see it when I go speak to my Rav. I see it. So, I don't have the doubt that you have, my friend. Yes, Yonatan. Right?
Yeah. Back to the reading. Does that mean that there's no conscious experience in Olam Haba?
According to the third category, we're going to have to see if they have a concept of a Olam Haba, but then there's no reward and punishment, or there is no Olam Haba, period. Right now, it seems a little iffy. But obviously, that's not the category that we want to be in. But he's just going through different categories, different levels of people in relations to the Torah. What do you say, Dan? Everything good?
Nothing, yeah.
You're behaving yourself?
Yes,
Good. He says the reason they don't believe in reward and punishment in Olam Haba is because of what it says in the books of the Nevi'im, of the prophets, about reward and punishment in this world without mentioning Olam Haba. Now, what are the reasons why in the Bible you don't hear about Olam Haba? It's because we have no kelim to understand what that would feel like. Imagine, God forbid, if somebody is, let's say, blind from birth. And you have to describe to him sunset. Is he ever going to experience that? Imagine you had to describe to him the color purple. I'll give you an example that I had. I had a student in university that had some sort of disorder. There's a name for it. I don't know what it is. That when she played music, she was a concert violinist, she saw colors. There's some sort of disorder that in her brain. She was trying to explain it to me. I couldn't. She's saying, when I play this note, like, F sharp, I see this color. I play this note. And so for her, she's seeing colors as she's playing. I just hear the music. I'm enjoying it. It's an amazing experience, but I'm not experiencing it like her. That is, if we don't have an ability to experience Olam Haba while in this world, there's no point in describing Olam Haba. What's it going to give you? When they tell you you're going to be sitting and learning Torah all day in Olam Haba. Oh no. More of this Matalon guy. No, you're going to be learning with Hashem. What's that like? I can't even close my eyes. I got to pay attention the whole time. We can't even imagine it. So there is an opinion of the reason that scriptures don't give details of Olam Haba is because of that because it's not shaykh. Yes.
Then how can we describe Gehenna as some books have?
Well, I wasn't done yet. Then comes the kuzari. Ever heard of the kuzari? We did it that summer. You were here for that. Don't remember. What?
What is that?
That's the book you wanted me to go back to do.
I was doing it before this.
Yeah. You okay? You trying to move the pillar? Saxton,
Yeah.
how am I doing today?
Doing good.
Yeah, Baruch Hashem?
Yeah, doing great.
Was it soccer game today?
No, tomorrow.
Well, you're going to be running around.
Yeah.
Finally, we might win one. Rabbi Yehuda Halevi in the Kuzari says all other religions, when they describe Olam Haba, they describe it with physical pleasures. A buffet, 72 virgins. Ever heard of that one? Yeah. Yeah. 72 virgins mean just the guys from the chess club. Okay? Do you imagine? What are these guys doing here? I killed myself for them. Yeah, Ahmed. The only reason they describe physicality is because that's the only experience they have. What is the greatest pleasurable human experience is intercourse. And so they take whatever that is times 72. As if that is going to be what you're going to. Now, if you read the hadith and of all the details, it's unbelievable. Rabbi Halevi says that since they've never experienced Olam Haba, they have to describe it in those terms. But we have experienced it already. When? When the Jewish people received the Torah, when they heard God speaking, the neshama left the body. Okay? It's a Gemara in Shabbos. Pei Tet. 88, 89. The neshama came out. And then it was brought back into the body. Which meant that we had the experience of what Olam Haba was. That is, what did it mean to be with God? That's why the Gemara says there's no eating, there's no drinking, there's no sleeping, there's no laying down, there's none of this stuff. Why? Because it is a pure spiritual existence. Spiritual. There's no physical body in Shamayim. And so it is that's the shita that of Rabbi Halevi. It's not the shita in this group. And the Chovos Halevavos is not he's telling you, he knows that we're wrong. He says they're wrong. But he's trying to explain why they're wrong and how they got to this mistaken position. Okay, I don't want to get yelled at. I have a few more minutes, so am I okay? How much time do I have now? Yeah, you.
5 minutes.
5?
Yeah.
I thought he was going to say, you're done. He's giving me extra minutes for tomorrow because we won't have a shiur tomorrow. So he's like, go ahead. So he says, Rabbeinu Sadia Gaon discussed this also to explain this. And he says that there are many hints in the books of the prophets of reward and punishment in the world to come. Because it says in 56, in Kohelet, Shlomo HaMelech says, Ki et kol ma'aseh Elokim, for every action God will bring in judgment, and everything that is hidden, whether good or bad. Which means that Shlomo HaMelech says to the Jewish people, hey, you're going to get judged on everything. Even things that you think nobody knows. Good or bad. And that's why you're going to get judged if there's no nafkamina, if there's no implications to you. Obviously, the judgment from Hashem is because there's going to be consequences. So Be'ezrat Hashem, Hashem should make sure that we all given opportunities to become better, give opportunities that we have ways to repair what we've destroyed. And that tomorrow on your trip, please have in mind that you are traveling in Eretz Yisrael, and that every 4 amos you are Mekayim, Mitzvah De'oraisa, and you should see the beauty of Eretz Yisrael, and that you have a great time, and we'll see you back here on Wednesday.